don't know the next words. I'm trying
We
to
are
think of that
live.
Soprano song.
You know who else is kind of quietly live, Andy?
Saints.
Saints. What
Saints.
the hell?
Um,
Uh,
was the best offensive drive of the night that one Saints drive?
I'll
I mean,
take your word for it. I'm at a holiday party. I haven't watched a
it's
minute of this game.
I've been in and out. I've been kind of just watching NBA scores and like talking to people, and it looks like the Bulls are going to cover. I
I
got a
watched a
good.
lot of NBA. Yeah, I've watched some NBA.
I'm going to be you today. I'm going to talk about NBA, and no one's going to care. I mean, I bet the Bulls yesterday at like 4.5 or whatever. Gets out to 6 this morning. I said, "Oh, good," but then all these COVID cases for Atlanta. I'm like, shit, am I going to lose CLV because they canceled the game? The exact opposite happens. They don't cancel the game, and in fact,
Surprise,
the
Trae
best
Young.
player for the Hawks plays instead. And my any number, it appears like any number you had in the Bulls is looking to get home. Any number you had in the first half for the Dolphins is getting home.
Dude,
Hopefully,
Hadron
I kind of
Lambda.
want to cheer for the Dolphins just because
No.
I
Yes,
like it.
please.
I like it
Please
when
cheer for the
people get a good
Dolphins.
numbers. When people get like a +3 and it closes -3 because of doesn't matter what. Like we're in the landscape where I'm not going to say it's fake CLV. You did well to get ahead of it, or you got lucky to get ahead of it, and I hope you win. And really, the Saints deserve one of these because they were the beneficiary of the Kendall Hinton game, which was a huge swing the other way.
That's right.
And now they have to deal with a wide receiver essentially playing quarterback. Although Book was a little better on that one drive, and I want to give Sean Payton credit. They changed up what they were doing. And I mean, we do this every week, and I'll get to this maybe in a little overtime if your battery lasts, because I want to talk about like, oh, we could coach these NFL teams. Is just a dumb statement, but the thing about like run pass with a rookie quarterback, you're gonna put him in 3rd and long every time. Like, I mean, we can see that's not working, right? Like that's bad. Like, I'm not saying I can coach an NFL team, but run pass with a rookie, inexperienced quarterback who's any quarterback who needs to prep on a short week is at a huge disadvantage. Any quarterback who needs to prep on a short week for the first time with that team is at a massive advantage. And then you throw in there he's never done it at this level before. I mean, no wonder he looked like shit out of the start. And it was a tip ball interception. It was not a great pass, but it's been gross, but it could have been grosser, I guess. The fact is their defense is playing up. Their defense is really playing up right now.
Yeah. I just want to address a couple points. Hadron Lambda called me out. I am away from my house. I'm at a party, and I snuck up and said, "Hey, can I use your guest bedroom to shoot this quick halftime show?" And they said, "Oh yeah, no problem." It does have the vibe of a kid's bedroom, but I am not on Epstein Island. Thank you, not at all, for the assumption that I would ever be involved in something as disgusting as that. But realistically, with no. The massage. Who gets massages? Ugh, I don't want people touching me. Ugh. Realistically, this is not the type of game where I expected Miami to cover easily. But the fact that they were only up 7, and the fact that 7 points was a pick 6 early in the game against an inexperienced quarterback does not feel great. And as a Miami backer, I would put anything on the table that gives me some coverage for Miami blowing this somehow, which feels imminently possible. Very easy to look past your opponent when they're missing this many players. Very easy for the Saints players to step up, and a lot of these guys have the game of their life as they're trying to get actual deals long-term in the NFL. So this is not a great situational spot for Miami, even with all of the absences in their favor. They just need to play like a professional NFL team. Is that too much to ask?
And it reminds me of the Sunday game. The Sunday game, you know how I said, like, hey, the Washington football team should treat it like a scrimmage, treat it like a preseason game. Just get out there and get some reps, try some things, get some confidence. And then you see like people bawling through the line trying to block punts. I'm like, oh my God, this is like the fourth preseason game. You have this asshole who's trying to block punts when they're up by like 40, which whatever. I mean, everybody's playing for their own contracts. I don't fault anybody.
Oh, no, you can't fault anyone.
No, I would never fault anyone. So second half line, Dan is asking because we're having trouble. It is 17 and a half for a total, a little juiced to the under, and the spread is Miami is essentially a pick 'em. It's Miami minus half.
If you try to buy back on the total steam, you're sweating right now?
Yeah, a little bit.
You're not going to get there. You're not going to get to 37, are you?
You would need this. So here's the thing. I said, hey, the Saints defense is playing great. And even the shitty broadcasters who have been shitty have brought up a good point. Like the Saints defensive line is intact, but all the rotational guys are missing. Those guys are going to get no breaks. And if Miami has the ball for the amount of time they did, like in the first, I think they probably won. Yeah. Time of possession was 18-11 roughly. If Miami does that in the second half, those pass rushers, that defensive line is going to get pretty tuckered out. So I'm looking for Miami to find some advantage there. But at the same time, like, the defense is playing up, and Miami looks like a team. And yeah, they did call him Alan Kamara. That was something else. Although we called Derrick Henry Travis Henry one time, and I didn't know how to say Saquon for 3 years. So I'm not going to judge. But the fact is, like,
no, it's Sack Barkley.
Sack Barkley. So the thing is, like, do we trust Miami enough, or is this winning streak a effing mirage because they've played a bunch of poor teams with bad quarterbacks, or teams in bad spots, or one time off a bye? Like, is this a team that can play well against a good defense? And they have a little, they've outgained them, but if you want to throw out those first couple drives by Book, where he looked. And I don't mean to, I hate it when I rhyme. He looked shook. He played
shook
a little
Book.
better.
Okay, yeah, all right.
Shook. I hate that.
Okay.
I hate it when I rhyme accidentally. But the fact they're only
you're not the only one. I'm just kidding.
I didn't know you were going to that. If you're gonna hate me.
I'm shook. Because now Patrick has me wondering if there is a sex toy in this room. Minus 250 is a huge
Greg
price.
Olson. Greg Olson said Hunter Henry, but he's a tight end. And truthfully, Greg Olson was kind of good. And I thought about it after the Greg Olson game. I'm like, you know what? Greg Olson wasn't good. He just didn't say anything stupid for 3 hours. That's how low the bar is set. Like, he said sane things.
Also, you know what else, Andy?
Yeah.
No one's ever made the mistake and called Derrick Henry anything other but Derrick Henry.
Yeah. Not some other shyster. That was rough. That was a rough look.
No one's ever made the mistake of calling Derrick Henry anything other than his name, because he's King Henry. Tractorcito.
Tractorcito.
Can you give me a price on how many more yards Derrick Henry will gain from scrimmage in the 2021-2022 campaign?
Including playoffs?
Yes.
I think they play 2 games in the playoffs. I think they win the first one, lose the second one. He plays both. He gets $190.
God damn, that's a sharp number.
$190 and a half, so there's no push. Yeah, I know that's kind of where I'm at.
I was going to say 175. That was where I was
at.
Play
at all.
I made it 175, so I'm going to say under.
Okay.
I like the long tail to the under of him not playing also. I also like the long tail of the under to them only having one playoff game.
What do we get? Yeah, and that's the thing. It's a definite advantage betting the under if they lose the first, but if they win a couple, then you have a problem too. I'd say more likely they lose the first one. So yeah,
I think you still have long tail under because they could win 3 playoff games and you could still. I mean, they could win 2 playoff games.
He could not play any of them,
and they could still have. He could still have one.
Should we?
No,
we got away with it last night, not betting. Because we said, who knows who knows what'll happen? It could, we don't know. We when the quarterbacks were going to be pulled. Both quarterbacks got pulled, and we saw a punt block touchdown. Like those are
if you
not
can predict
second halves
that,
you
yeah.
want to bet into.
Yeah, no,
that's not the
wait.
second half you want to bet into.
Yeah, anytime if you had the next touchdown scorer, it was Grayson. Is that right? Who was the guy?
Gregson.
Gregson?
Dotson? We got Dotson here.
We had Dotson. It was a special teams guy. Yeah, it was a surprise.
Next person to make a bet in the chat. That's what we'll officially go
Foos likes the second half over in Spurs Jazz. I need more details. Why are we betting the second half over? Give me something more than just a play.
Selena. I love that GIF.
That's a great one. It's a great GIF.
Miami
Where was Sprinkle? We all wonder, Fire Ice. Yeah, I had words with Noops via text about that. I was pretty upset that we wasted any time talking about Sprinkle. He was not featured in the revenge game. Actually, Andy, let me ask you: was that a tactical mistake by Mike McCarthy not to feature Sprinkle?
I mean,
could the Cowboys have done even better?
Game, didn't they?
Could the Cowboys have done even better if they had featured Sprinkle in the revenge game?
So the official play is the signed collectibles Saints no touchdown plus 125 live.
I hope that hits.
But I do want to talk about the Cowboys quick because it feels like we're getting real excited for the Cowboys and they just blew the shit out of somebody. That's not a good way to say that. They blew the doors off.
They just sucked the shit out of. Oh no, excuse me.
Sucked the life out of that stadium.
Yeah, they sucked the life out. No,
what? They definitely topped the Washington football team.
They topped them, all right. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Stop him.
Yep. That's right.
They beat. It was a shit sandwich. You beat Washington twice, and you beat the Giants.
Congratulations!
The Giants were much worse than they were at the beginning of the season, and they weren't a good team. So, pump the brakes a little on the Cowboys being great.
Hey, remind me about this amazing best defense in the NFL that gave up 40 points to the Raiders on Thanksgiving.
Yeah,
I wasn't tripping. That happened, right?
Yeah, it wasn't quite that many, was it?
It was 30 something.
It was like 36. Was that another overtime game?
It was, yeah.
I think they went to overtime. So, yeah, that's the thing. So, the Cowboys beat the Giants and the football team twice. Before that, they beat an undermanned Saints team. They lost to the Raiders in overtime.
Yeah.
They only scored 9 against the Chiefs.
Hey,
the Falcons game was much like the game we saw the other day.
You want me to throw some cold water on your Cowboys? You want me to throw some cold water on your Cowboys optimism today? If you woke up with a big old Cowboys boner today, like we're going to the Super Bowl, you want me to throw some cold water on that? Dak Prescott is not going into Lambeau in the month of January and beating Aaron Rodgers. He's not.
I thought you were gonna have some stats or something. That was just a hard statement.
Yes. By all means, Andy, please go through the records and
I'm with you.
Identify a game that had meaningful value where Dak Prescott showed up at all in a cold weather situation. Because it doesn't exist.
I mean, he was okay 2 weeks ago, but they brought in the heated benches. So can you really give him credit?
Are they going to allow heated benches in Lambeau?
I don't know. Is this going to be like the Notre Dame thing where they wouldn't let the world's biggest drum in?
Well, see, that seems like the right thing to do if you're a Lambeau owner, right? If you're one of the owners, I would vote against allowing them to bring in the heated benches.
You're having an owners meeting down at the VFW, and you would definitely say they can't bring those in. This is our rules. Or you sabotage said benches. That would be funny as well.
Look, here's the thing. It is somewhat foolish, in my opinion, to get excited about anyone in the NFC this year, besides Green Bay. I'm sorry. I would not
Healthy
doubt
Tampa.
The Bucks going into the Green Bay and getting a win, but that is it. That is where I would draw the line. I don't think the Rams have the juice to go in there and get a win. Mm-hmm. I don't think Dallas has the juice to go in there and get a win. Certainly none of the wild card teams. Trey Lance doesn't have the juice to go in there and get a win.
Rutledge's hair is amazing right now.
Oh, I got to look this up. I love
There's
some
like
good hair.
4 comments about her in the chat too, you guys. You guys.
It's that time of year. People are thinking about New Year's and their plans for New Year's and who to ask. Everyone wants to ask Laura Rutledge.
Everyone wants to smooch her at midnight, I guess. Her hair,
That's right, man.
was just I believe they say on point.
On point. It was on fleek.
On fleek.
Okay.
I've never been able to say on fleek. I'm
Not sincerely.
Not sincerely. Yeah, I'm with you there. The wild card teams aren't going to go into Green Bay and win. Although, for some reason, if I were Green Bay, the one team I wouldn't want to see in the goddamn playoffs was the fucking Vikings. They play them weird. It's a weird matchup, and the Vikings aren't good. They have so many flaws. They have
the state of the Vikings defense right now. I'm not super worried.
I know, but we see that year after year. It wasn't good last year when they did that to them. It's a weird matchup. It's like how the Vikings and the Bears sometimes play really close games, even when one of the teams is really horrific. So, and then somebody did bring up Taylor winning it if they beat Kansas City. I'd love to bet that. I'm glad I passed because now there's COVID in the Bengals quarterback room. That could be a fucking disaster. Like if Burrow can't go, that game's
not good.
That game
not
goes
good.
from being an awesome game to absolutely.
I'm already depressed. I'm already depressed because that was going to be the game of the week. That was going to be the game of the week. In fact, that was like the only game I was really excited to really dig into and hear from people about. Yeah. Like I wanted to hear what Suma had to say about that. I wanted to hear what Rob had to say about that game. I wanted to hear you had to say about that game. I wanted to hear Eric and George had to say about that game. And now, if it's Burrow if Burrow and the Bengals are all fucked on that one now, I'm going to be pretty pissed.
I may have to go sit in front of my wife's light. Like she has one of those lights so that the winter doesn't get her down.
Ooh.
It's depressing up here in the winter.
Sure.
She says it works. Yeah. She says it's her happy light. It makes her happy.
Yeah, so here, real quick, last comment, real quick on the NFC. The Packers are going to get the bye, and they're going to host a home game against a team that's going to have a tough game the previous week, and that's going to be an advantage. And it may be beyond the weather, beyond the and honestly, like people really this time of year. This is just kind of a word of caution, and I'll say it out loud, and I'd like you to repeat this back to me if I fall victim to this, okay? People get caught up.
Pacers.
The fucking Pacers can go fuck themselves. Do not bet the fucking Pacers. Yeah, that's correct. Aside from that, the team that gets hot as you come into the closing stanza gains momentum in terms of people's perception of how well they're playing. And that does not always translate to the playoffs because of the rest advantage, because the home field matters more, because defense tends to matter more, because quarterback experience tends to matter more, right? Like there will be people who will talk themselves into the Cowboys on the basis of them thumping shit teams down the stretch, right? In reality, Dak has never won a playoff game. Or did he beat Seattle? He lost to Seattle, right?
He's gotten one.
Did he lose to Seattle or did he beat them? I think he beat Seattle. Maybe he did win one.
The Cowboys' playoff history for about the last 20 years
not been great.
It's been a real rough hang.
Did Dak beat the Detroit Lions? Or was that Tony Romo time?
So Romo had a win, and then Romo had so many bad ones. So Dak did beat Seattle in 2018.
Yeah, but that was more Seattle's coaching than it was his play.
Yeah, I mean, that was an ugly game, and then lost to the Rams.
And that was the Rams tried to choke that one away. Yeah, that was the series of follies that led to the. That's right.
And then the 2 years prior, he lost to the Packers in Lambeau, I believe. Didn't have a bad game that day, but that was. I will just
say, it's. He's not a guy that I have tagged as he can excel in difficult conditions. I'll say that. There's a lot of guys who I'm like, I'll go to war with him when the weather's gross, but he's not a guy that I would say that about.
And Green Bay gets a little more healthy. I think they're going to be fine.
Yeah.
Should have a good NFC title game. I think both title games should be really good. The playoffs are going to be there's going to be some wheat and chaff that needs separating.
Mm-hmm.
But once you get to the second weekend, we have 4 good games followed by 2 really good championship games. I'm excited about the playoffs this year.
Yep.
A lot of parity,
especially in the AFC.
Hadron Collider here is asking about a Week 18 game, buddy. I can't even put prices on Week 17 games right now with the amount of hodgepodge and all kinds of stuff that's going on.
I had an interesting conversation with a loyal listener today, back and forth via Twitter DM. Some of the most interesting conversations I have.
It's true.
There are a lot of correlated outcomes between Week 17 and Week 18 this year.
Thinking of some 2-team parlays?
Thinking of some 3-teamers.
Some 3-teamers, some 4-teamers, some round robins.
If Team A and B win in Week 17, then Week 18, Team C almost certainly sits there, guys. There are 3 of them. And they are like, if Team A and B win, the Team A and B are both favored to win. And so basically you have a huge likelihood that Team C will likely rest Week 18. There are 3 of them. I'll let you marinate on that, and we will talk about it on Wednesday.
Yeah, there's no chance I'm coming up with that. Oh,
no way you're
talking
a pick. Oh, for Christ's fucking sake.
I mean, Kieran bets that every week. It works every week. Calls him Stinky Tua. You can't throw that pass. It was a bad pass. Yuck. And I'll leave you with this, guys.
I will check.
No good has ever come from rummaging through someone else's closets. You're gonna find some shit you don't like.
I'm dying to know what's in there now that Patrick has said this.
Oof, that was a bad INT. God, I hate his throwing motion. So, all right, well,
I do too. Hey, the left-handed nature doesn't help.
It just makes it look ugly.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, he took a big number 2 all over the drive. Good call, Gelati. Hey, let's regroup. Let's come back Wednesday. We'll talk about all these games.
I'm not opening on stream. That would be a violation of privacy.
Yeah, that's what if it's like a body? What if it's like
what if there is a sex swing in there?
What if it's a body? What if this is like again Goonies reference?
No, I don't think these are good. No, these are good people. There's no bodies.
That's what they always say. Like, oh, I had never expected this.
There's no bodies in the closet.
You're gonna check now. All right, see ya.